What's up, guys? Your king and I, Vincent Valentine EX Turk. Just threw my jacket on. It's kind of chilly down here. Come to think of it, but you know, besides the wind factor being, you know, really below freezing, you know, which surprises my incense going on, is we're gonna be talking about Final Fantasy Theory, another one of my favorite Final Fantasy character of all time, Vincent Valentine. Now, this is a fan theory that's going to be completely outrageous, so get prepared for, you know, the stuff that's going to make you, you know, go crazy. Alright, done drinking my high elixir. Let's get to the theory. Now, the question is, could Vincent Valentine end up being the director of the Turks if he never leave the Turks? Now, in order for this to actually take place, Lucretia Crescent mustn't die. So, Lucretia Crescent survives. Still tries to go through the marriage with Hojo, but successfully brings back Vincent. But, you know, before Hojo could impregnate Lucretia or Lucretia, no matter how much you word it, whether you use the Japanese or English pronunciations for the character, before Lucretia could get pregnant with Hojo, you know, she breaks it off with Hojo after saving Vincent's life. The Chaos Experiment worked. Vincent Valentine is now safe. Since Lucretia never gave birth to Sephiroth, she would never be crystallized in that one thing. Since Vincent has not locked himself in a coffin because he's grateful that she's alive, and he's also happy that she's turned down Hojo's marriage proposal. Now, the only problem is Sephiroth would not be born because Hojo's sperm is not inside Lucretia. So Sephiroth would be cut completely out of this continuity at all. Which, even though Sephiroth's a cool character, and I like Sephiroth and I respect him, he's my favorite Final Fantasy villain, you know, half the problems would be gone. Unless somehow she ends up with Vincent, but then Sephiroth would grow up completely different if Vincent was Sephiroth's father. Sephiroth would be a hero instead of a villain. You know, because he would know the truth from the get-go, and Vincent wouldn't hide anything, because Vincent believes... Okay, Vincent is upright. He believes in doing what's right, you know, at any cost. That's just the kind of character Vincent is, you know. Sure, he's got tendencies, some tendencies of a villain, like, you know, if you're in his way of stopping him from what he's gonna do, then yeah, you're gonna end up dead. I mean, that's just how he plays things, but... he's kind of like the Batman-ish Punisher type of character. So he would tell Sephiroth the truth about everything earlier on. So Sephiroth would never grow up as a villain. But let's skip years ahead. Sephiroth's a grown-up. He makes it in Soldier. He makes it in High-Class Soldier, even though he does not have Genova cells in him. But however, since Vincent's his father and Vincent had chaos inside of him, Sephiroth would have some of the power. So pretty much Sephiroth would end up being another Vincent clone, just with silver hair and uses a sword, you know. And for that, before that, like how Lazar was the director of the Soldier, you know, Vincent would be the director of the Turks, because Vincent would be picked over Sang. Don't get me wrong, Sang's good, besides his creepy obsession with Aeris, but that's a whole nother take on that. Sung's a good director. In fact, he went to go try to save Zack, even though Zack's his love rival with Aeris, you know. But Vincent would be chosen because his qualities are a lot better than Sang's. He could think. I mean, Sang is a good thinker too, and he's a good strategist. But Vincent would be a way better strategist because, well, Vincent's also a marksman. He uses guns. You know, he's a marksman as well. You know, so he would be a good thing. I mean, he'd be a good director of the Turks better than Sang is. Not to mention, Vincent is just as powerful as a first-class soldier. you'd have the very first Turk. You would have the very first Turk to be as strong as a first-class soldier. So just in case Sephiroth or anybody or Genesis still goes evil and stuff like that and goes bad, Vincent could take out Genesis by himself. He could take out Genesis by himself. No problem. No, no problem at all. Just, he would be able to he will be able to, defeat Genesis. Not to mention, he'd also be the leader not only because he's powerful, he's a strategist, he's strong as a first-class soldier, and he's very smart, but also Vincent's been around in the history of Turks, been around since, been around since the creation of Soldier. So Vincent's been around for a long period of time. Vincent's been there when President Shinra was a young man. The original, not Rufus. President Shinra Sr. He's been around since President Shinra Sr. was a young man. And you know how old President Shinra is. So Vincent's history would also make him director of the Turks as well. Not to mention, not only he would be higher up, Lucretia would be replacing Hojo's position as Shinra's scientist because Vincent would have power in that jurisdiction, being the director of Turks. And plus, Lucretia, I don't care how you pronounce it, and Vincent's son Sephiroth, the new Sephiroth end up being the director of Soldier because he would never betray Soldier. So Sephiroth would be the director of Soldier, while Vincent being the director of the Turks, and why Lucretia Crescent being the chief scientist for Shinra, replacing Hojo, thus getting Hojo fired. This might be a better timeline, but the problem is each character would get weaker. Vincent would be a little weaker because he wouldn't have to fight enemies like Sephiroth. Sephiroth would be a little weaker because Genova cells are stronger than Chaos. Even though Chaos is strong and Chaos is a weapon himself, Genova can actually wipe out Chaos. So Sephiroth would be weaker for having no cells. And there wouldn't be no conflict enough to make the characters physically strong. Sure, yes, we're going to be sacrificing Lucretia if that happened. This would be a much happier timeline, don't get me wrong. In some cases I prefer this timeline, but at the same time, everybody would be weaker. Even Cloud. Cloud would never get the Mako ejections if Hojo got fired, or if he had to defeat Sephiroth in battle, but there won't be no reason because Sephiroth is still Cloud's hero, and Cloud ends up becoming a first-class soldier because he looks up to Sephiroth and Zack. So Zack would still be alive too, but nonetheless, yes, Vincent Valentine could have been the director of the Turks if he would have stayed in the Turks. He could have been director of the Turks if he would have stayed with the Turks. That's pretty much the point I want to make in this video. So may the crystal be with you. Tell me what you think of this subject. Like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. And may the crystal be with you.